Welcome back to the Angry Teacher channel. I'm Richard Williams, the Angry Teacher, and today we're going to be talking about should you consider becoming a college athlete? Alright, let's get into the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the notification bell for the next dope Angry Teacher video. Now, there are 5 things to think about when you are considering playing college ball. You did high school, it was fun, you guys won some stuff, or you didn't win some stuff, it doesn't matter. Well, for the most part, I guess you did win some stuff because you got recruited, right? So you're considering, should I even play it in college? And just think about these things while you're considering that, because it's not just a decision that you make and then that's it. It affects a lot of things in your life later down. So consider these and come up with what you think you need to do, right, for you and your family. Let me know down below in the comments. All right, so anyway, number 1, you got to know which division works for you. Now, this and division, we're talking about NCAA. There are also all the different types of organizations that you can be a part of, but we're for the most part focusing on NCAA because it's the largest and the most popular, if you will. With that said, divisions that you should think about: Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. Now, Division 1 is the one where it's most competitive. That's the one that everyone wants to go to, those kinds of schools, because that's where you get, it's easier to get recognized. So you can go to the, to play pro, whatever sport. And so it's more competitive because it's the most lucrative, if you will, of all 3. And so you tend to have to be very athletic. Your athleticism needs to be on point, and it's mostly about your athletics. With that said, there's D2, which is about 50-50. It's partially athletics and partially academics. D1s, they would probably pay for you for your entire scholarship for the most part. And D2, you can go 50-50, or you can be partially competitive. You don't have to be that on it all the time. You still need to get your academics to where they need to be. And then you have D3, which is entirely, if you will, academics. So it might be a smaller school, might be one of those religious Christian schools, or just a school that they will pay for you to go to school there. Or you'll pay for some of it to go there, and you'll play on their teams, but you need to have your grades on point. A lot of the D1s, they provide tutors and all this other stuff, whereas some of the D3s may not, but you have to do all the work. But as long as they pay for most of school, that's fine. So you have to make that decision, which one is best for you. Now, with what I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but you need to think about the commitment that you have to make to your athleticism. If you were broken up in high school with some of the sports, baseball, your speed wasn't there, then these are things you need to consider. Do you want to be on point all the time with the D1? And maybe a D1 was looking at you, but you consider, man, that's hard to keep up with. I need to hit the books because, I don't want to do this professionally. I just want to do it for pay for school. Then hey, those are things to think about, all right? Number 2, how committed are you to the sport? I'm just gonna put it out there. High school versus college ball or sports, they're completely different. Whereas the requirements for your body and your time are a little bit amped in college. The schedules are ridiculous. One of my girls, she does track. She has to get up at, I think, 4 o'clock every morning. And, she does her stuff in the morning, and then they go to, I think, the weight room in the morning. Then she goes to classes, and then she goes back to track practice afterwards. And then she goes home and she gets to study a little bit. Then she goes to sleep. That's her schedule. When you want to go off to play college sports, the schedule is just crazy. There are away games. You're traveling a lot, or you are on campus getting ready for matches and games when something else is going on campus. Or if you're traveling, you're going off somewhere where your family is doing something else and you can't come down for that. These are things to consider. The physicality of it. When you're in high school, you can get away with coach Coach tells you to run around 15 times and you kind of take it, let me just do 10. You know, in college it's a little bit different. They have a lot more coaches, a lot more going on, so they'll be able to focus on you. They send people to your classes to make sure you're in them and that you're awake and you're doing things in the classes. Things to consider. How committed are you to the process, to the sport? There are a lot of people, nothing wrong with that. They just played in high school and that's it. They plateaued, they're done, they're good. Some are just using college athletics for just that, college athletics, to pay for school. A lot of my kids did it. Now they're doing well in their professions because they knew what they were getting into. Now there are another set, and it keeps weeding out, keeps getting to a different level. A lot of them who are just doing it to get to professional sports. We have one in our building. She has left and she's now an Olympian. We've had several in our building, and that's what we're known for in South Florida. Several in our building who went to play professional sports. We have one of our coaches who came back. I think he went pro baseball. We have a lot of football players who went to the NFL. So these, and a lot of track people. But the thing is that you have to know how committed you are to this, and it's a different level. So if you're not that guy, hey, just hit the books. Or, the high school is it. But these are things to consider when you want to be a college athlete. As I kind of hinted before, the extracurriculars, number 3, are going to be off the chain. They're going to be ridiculous. When you're in college, that's when you can freely go and do what you need to do because mom is not around or your teachers aren't hounding you or whatever. And now you have a match. You can't go anywhere. When you're traveling, you're on the road for 2 weeks out of the semester, and you have to travel and do online stuff on the bus, and you're distracted and whatever, and so it's affecting your grades. You can't join the clubs and organizations you want to. You want to get a job because you want to help out at home, or you just need the extra funds. That's not going to happen because you are an athlete, and it requires time to practice and for games, and for meetings for these teams. So friends and family, yeah, you might see them, you might not. It just depends on who you are, how much time you have, how easy your classes are, how hard your classes are, what level of your college experience you are in. It's just so many things to think about. The extracurriculars are there. That's what people go to college for a lot. It's the networking and all this stuff. And if you're always around athletes who are, their major concern is just getting through that next game, and you're not, you want to be that engineer and you're not networking with people in your program, that's another problem. So think about those. Where do you want to go? Now this applies to every student, but I'm going to put it out there anyway. Athletics will take you to different places, different distances, away from home, away from friends, away from what you know. Now, even if you do go to one locally, there's still things that, the away games are going to take you away. It's going to require a different group. You're going to be with different people. So you're going to have a different experience, and that's always a good thing. But just consider that when you're becoming an athlete. It's going to cost you some more money because, in high school, a lot of things we provided, or it costs you less. It's going to cost you more for the equipment and all that stuff. So where do you want to go? Because especially if you go to these colder states, if you're not from one of those states, you don't have that stuff already. So you have to get additional stuff while you're playing. You have to get used to playing in colder weather. Or if you're transferring from a colder environment to a warmer one, you're going to have to get used to playing in 100-degree weather with equipment on for whatever sport. So think about these things as you become a college athlete, or as you think about becoming one. And the last point, number 5. Are you good enough? That's going to be a question that's going to hound you a lot. You're going to have some people who, are mad that you're there and, they've seen better. They're going to be asking you the same question too. Self-doubt is going to kick in. Just put all those naysayers away. You are recruited, you're there, you're thinking about it because you're that good, right? Can you get better? Of course, you have to maintain what you have or get better. You know what? Maintain what you have and get better. But you are good enough. But I want you to know why you're there. You're going because you are recruited, you're that good, and you have an end game. Is it to help your family? Is it to be the next Olympian? Is it to go to the NFL? Go to the MLB? Whatever you want to do, make sure that you remember that every time it hurts, every time you have to get up at 4, every time you have to make sure you pass all your classes, every time you have to make sure that you're on that away game, make sure you get your cleats and all this stuff. Whatever you are there for, make sure you remember that. Those are the 5 things I'm trying to have you think about before you consider going off to play college ball, because once you sign that paper and once you register and you get in, it'll hurt when you have to change your mind, you know? So have these things in your head before you go, all right? And this is summer to think about it. Guys, that's all the time I have for you today. Thanks for coming by The Angry Teacher. I'll see you in the next video.